It is an absolutely beautiful day today. A beautiful spring, kind of somewhat hot today, which is actually what I wanted in order to get this bar exchange done. But it's beautiful. I got my grass back. I'm loving it. My trees are looking good. My trees are my babies. All right, so welcome to ADVinJapan, you guys. Today I'm going to be doing a bar replacement here. So I'm going to go ahead and get on the bike and show you why I'm doing this now. And that is because if you look, you can see that the bar kind of starts to bend back towards me. And that's because I tend to fall on my left side. And so this bar is taking a lot of hits here, and eventually it's just caused it to bend. So before we get into this though, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys kind of what I'm going to be putting on here, what I decided to go with in terms of a bar. So the Protaper, this is the factory KTM, Suzuki, whatever bar that you can purchase online from Protaper. It's designed to be put on like the EXC, I believe, but it fits. It will go on the KTM 390 Adventure as long as you have the 28mm bar clamps. So you will have to purchase these. You'll have to pick these up in order to install this new bar.
By the way, I got these bar clamps off of AliExpress for like 20 bucks a piece, so they're super cheap, super affordable.
I don't know why KTM decided to, well, I do know why, because it's KTM. They decided to go with the 26.5mm size bar, so thinner and obviously not the standard size. The standard size is that 28mm. And that's what this is, and it is thicker. It's a bigger bar. The only thing is it's a slightly smaller dip. You can see it when you compare. Doesn't have as much of a rise as the original bars do. So I don't know. I think I may end up liking that better. We'll see how that works out. In any case, I do have some extra long clamps, bar clamps here that I can use to perhaps raise this bar up to the level that I want it. So I'll be using those existing extenders, and then I'll be putting this on. Now, for those of you that are in Japan, if I do this plus the extenders there, this is going to put me past the legal requirement in order to pass the shukken here, or the vehicle inspection. So if you're going to do this and the bar risers, then you have to make sure to remove these, put the shorter ones on later for the inspection in order to pass that. Honestly, I don't know if they're going to notice that, to be honest. I don't think they're going to really care. In any case, this came only in bronze in stock. So what I did is I went ahead and painted this. I think it's a polyurethane, I'm not quite sure, but it's designed to be used on vehicles, motorcycles and whatnot. It's a really, really nice paint that doesn't scratch. You know, I'm sitting here with my thumb here trying to scratch this off. It just doesn't come off. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to come off. It started to come off in some areas here and there, but it's pretty good stuff. So I went ahead and just sanded all this down and painted it. I like that black. I know some of you like the bronze. I don't like that bronze look. So I shaved all that off and painted it black.
Lastly, you guys probably noticed, but I went ahead and printed out a new logo that matches the KTM orange and slapped that on the bar.
And then something else I've been wanting to do too is to paint my bark busters, the hardware, black too as well, because this all came in silver. So I went ahead, sanded all that down too, and painted it up. So we got matching colors here. So again, if you're gonna do this factory KTM Protaper bar, you're gonna need to purchase new bar clamps to fit that 28mm size bar, which is the standard size. So if you guys purchase this, you're gonna be in good shape for the rest of the life of the bike. If you have to replace the bars again, you can go ahead and just pick up another standard 28mm size bar, and it should fit. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the disassembly. Again, take off your guards, whatever you've got. The next obvious thing to do here is to remove the mirrors. Now, beyond this, you won't have to do anything else. I'm not going to do anything else because I've got these things locked in with blue goo, so I don't want to mess with those. You know, if you've got anything else that you can take off, so for example, I can probably remove my AliExpress knockoff, the Atlas throttle lock. This right here is used for my bar bag. It's a little custom mount that I made for it so I can quickly remove my bar bag without having to undo a bunch of screws. I've got it basically using a quad lock mount, which has worked pretty well. Great, I think we are in good shape here to go ahead and start taking off the grips here. So I mentioned it's a hot day, and I'm doing this on a hot day on purpose because I've had this sitting underneath, you know, basically underneath my cover. So it's been kind of boiling in here all day. And you want to make sure to do that just because it's going to make it a lot easier to get these glued on grips off. If you don't have a hot weather that day, don't worry about it. You can just pick up a, take out the hair dryer and just heat this sucker up. Mine literally was able to pop off with just a little bit of strength. It just went pop and we're pretty much good to go. So I did this earlier just to test out to see how much it would take to actually get this thing off. And yeah, it just came right off, so too bad. All right, so that came off, didn't have to do anything with that. All that cluster wire there is good to go. Okay, so then we're gonna do the other side here too as well. I'm hoping, I haven't done this one, so we'll see how easy this comes off. Now, obviously with the throttle side, you've got the throttle tube in there, and that's the one thing that you do not want to damage, especially if you stick a screwdriver inside there, like I've seen some people on YouTube do. If you can get this thing off without doing a screwdriver, that's obviously the best way. Mine, yep, see, it's just coming right off. So yeah, you can see the glue there, it's coming loose. Very nice. So that little extra slack that I had in the power cord for the heated grips just allowed me to slip that off without having to do anything. So pretty nice. So one of the hardest parts is literally this. It can be super hard or it can be really easy like it was for me. It just depends on what you've got going. If it's a little bit harder for you, you're not finding that you're not able to get it off, again, try applying a heat source, something to it to melt that glue, get it melted down. If that doesn't work, I've seen people stick WD-40 up in there to break the bond of the glue. If you don't have heated grips, then and you got new grips, go ahead and just slice those suckers off and just do whatever. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna be doing is taking off these instrument clusters here. Let's go ahead and do this instrument cluster. The first thing you need to do, I'm gonna take a look at this here real quick and see what we got going. Yeah, so I think we're just gonna remove these two screws here, and this should kind of open up this whole unit. So it looks like we have a screw here and we got one over here too as well. So we'll go ahead and do this one as well and just kind of see what happens with this whole unit. Yeah, so it just opened up real simple. Again, these are teeny tiny little screws, so don't be losing these things. Looks like we got one more big screw kind of underneath, so right here. So looking inside here, it looks like we've got like a little metal piece that kind of wraps around and hooks the top and the bottom there. So if you just pull that out, then you're good to go. And I'm gonna loosely put these screws back in so I don't lose them, because that's the last thing I want to do. Okay, now this is the one where I'm scared I'll probably have to remove everything, or I may just go ahead and remove this and kind of slide everything over and slide it off, because I don't want to mess with my clutch cable here. I've got everything where I want it to be. I mean, I may have to mess around with it, but I'm just going to try and keep this all in place where it is right now, as is. Okay, so first thing is we're going to go ahead and remove this here. So it looks like you'll be using a 10 on this, 10 millimeter. Yeah, this won't come off until I actually remove the actual physical bar itself. So I'm gonna kind of loosen everything up as much as I can. I know this will come off, so we're gonna go ahead and remove this. Now this is the switch for my fog lights. I've got a friend who's actually integrating his switch into the existing OEM switch box that I just pulled off. He's printing out a 3D part, so it should be pretty cool. All right, good, so that came off. Okay, just kind of letting this stuff hang down there. Should be fine. We got the clutch switch here, so don't need to remove that. This is gonna come off as a unit. So one thing I will do though is I'll put this back in and just leave it loose. And what I think we're gonna do is go ahead and loosen the stuff up here as much as we can. See if we can do that. Okay, so let's take a look at this switch box and see where some of the screws are. So it looks like we got one big screw under here, Phillips. So let's go ahead and remove this. Okay. Now, just to give you guys, this is my first time, and I've never done this before, so, I'm doing this with you guys. Okay, so there's one more Phillips screw over on this side, so let's pull that off and see where we're at. Don't you go in that death trap. Okay, I think what's holding me is probably this piece here, which actually in a previous life broke off, so I need to break it again. This is a little tab piece, you guys. It's supposed to have like a little clip here. My clip broke off, and so just be very careful about taking this thing off. You're gonna wanna push that clip down as you pull this thing out. I don't think you need to take that off though. Maybe you do, I don't know. Okay, I think what made this so hard to take off, you guys, is there is a wire here that's coming underneath to hook up to the kill switch there, and so that made it a little bit difficult to pull off, but it will come off. Okay, so once you've got this off, then you can see here, I'm not sure if you can see that, I hope you can, but there's basically a little pin here, and you can see down inside here that there's a pin also in the handlebar here. We're gonna have to mark that off and drill that off later in order to get this back onto the new bar, so we'll go ahead and do that later. But once you pull that off, then this whole assembly is ready to be slid off. So I think what we're gonna do from here, maybe we'll go ahead and loosen this up too. So we've got 2 bolts here that are gonna allow us to loosen this up. This whole assembly can come off, so there's no need to remove the brake reservoir. Yeah, 2 8mm bolts here. Very nice. Okay, so we've got all that off there. I'm gonna put these inside here so we don't lose them. Okay, let's go ahead and clip that so we can remove and create some free play. Yep, let's go ahead and clip this thing. Okay, so we've gotten everything pretty much loosened up. It needs to be loosened up and will come off as soon as we remove these bars here. So let's go ahead and do just that. So again, we're dealing with a 5mm here. So let's go ahead and put those in there, and we'll lay these down here, the rest of our assemblies. By the way, if my English is weird, it's because I've lived in this country for since 2011. It screws your English up bad. Okay, so what my thinking was is you just kind of move this over, and then this would allow us to kind of move the bar away from this and allow you to slide all that stuff off. So this way you don't have to do any crazy clutch removing or wire removing or anything like that. All right, so let's take a look at this thing. Let's see how bent it is. I want to take a look. You really don't even have to try hard to see what's going on here. So that's straight lined up with the concrete right there. I don't even need a measure. You can see that this thing has just been bent upwards so bad. So obviously totally bent to crap, and we're gonna fix that. So let's go ahead and start by putting on our clamps first here. So we'll go ahead and remove that. Oh man, those are in there. I need to lock the steering wheel. Yep, that is definitely in there. This is what blue goo does. You just, again, if you use blue goo on a screw that needs to come out often or a bolt that needs to come out often, you're gonna strip it eventually because it takes a lot of oomph to get this stuff out. It's another reason why, these bolts are so huge. Now these are the extra long bolts that came with the extenders here, bar risers. So these bolts are extra super long, and I'm hoping that they will be able to accommodate those larger bar clamps. So yeah, you can see all that blue goo that just came off. Good. All right, so this is no good anymore, right? I mean, we basically removed the 26.5mm, which is going to be replaced by that 28. So, but first of all, we're going to test and see if I can use these with my risers. And it looks like, yeah, I mean, it looks like a nice fit in there. Let's see if I can get a screw. I don't like that. It's not a lot. I'm feeling like that may not be enough grip to really get this thing tight. That's kind of got me a little scared. I don't know. Let's see. Let's try this combination. So I've got some shorter ones too that I bought, but I think they're the same size as the OEM. So let's see what this looks like. Yeah, so this is gonna put me right at pretty much the same height as I was before. Yeah, see, that's a lot more grip. I'm liking that. Gosh, I don't know, you guys. You think I should risk it? Kinda. I don't know what to do here. I just don't know what to do here. All right, so if I use this by itself, that is obviously plenty, but then I throw this bad boy in, we're looking at about that much. I don't know, what do you guys think? That's gonna give me a huge bar rise too as well. Let me get this in here and see what this feels like. I mean, it's certainly gonna use up all the thread space that's inside here. I can guarantee that. But there's nothing gonna be sticking out the bottom, that's for sure. So I think that's gonna be okay. I mean, yeah, I think it's gonna be all right. And that's not even like all the way down. I could get that even further down. I think it's going to be fine. Well, you know, this is one thing. Another thing is to make sure that my clutch cable is going to be able to fit on there. It's a whole nother ball game, right? Let's go ahead and remove the other one here. All right, so again, this is just a test fit, so I'm not going to do any blue goo quite yet. So watch, I'm probably going to have to remove all this stuff because I'm not going to be able to get everything to fit. Well, in any case, it's worth the effort. I'm going to give it a try, see if it works. Okay, so let's go ahead and get on the bar here. Sorry, before we do this, we need to actually slip on everything. So that means we need to go ahead and slip on this first. So we've got the big bar here. It's kind of got this serrated part to it. So this is probably going to have to widen a little bit. So I'm going to do that with a flathead here. Just kind of bend that open. Get a bit of a stretch there. Yep, that should be good. So let's get this slid on here. Like a glove. That'll go there. Very nice. That slid on too without having to remove anything. Perfect. Okay. And then let's go ahead and get this slid on too as well. And so we're going to slide all this over. Okay, so we got our little piece here that we need to get on. There we go. So let's go ahead and slide that on. And then we'll, oh, sorry, I need to get this on too. Very nice, look at that. All right, now we can see if this is actually gonna work. So what we need to do here is put this kind of where it needs to go. It's looking like it's probably gonna work, you guys. I think it's gonna do just fine. One thing to do is make sure that the direction this goes on, you've got this little tab that sticks out, and it's going to sit in here. It's going to prevent the brake from moving too much, right, from where you got this here. Now, one thing I forgot to do is actually drill the, I haven't drilled the hole for this. I'll do that later. Right now, I'm just going to see if this actually fits. And if it does, I'm going to be one stinking happy camper, that's for sure. So let's go ahead and get this on. Okay, so these are not directional. They can go on either way. They're totally equilibrial. What is directional are these. So again, you can have it facing more towards you or facing more away from you. I want it to face towards me, so I've got it in that orientation. Okay, so we're gonna kind of get this finger tightened here, and if it works, then I think we're gonna go with this. I think it's probably gonna put us closer to what the natural height of that bar was. Okay, so that's looking like it's probably gonna work right here. Right there. I think that's probably dead center right there. Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably where we want it. Let's unlock the steering wheel here so we can kind of get a... Yeah, that's probably where I want it. Okay, so let's see if all this stuff actually works and goes where it's supposed to go. Oh yeah, we've got plenty of play here. I think we're good to go. I think I'm gonna go with this. I think we're super solid here in terms of ergonomics here. Let me go ahead and just get on the bike real quick and kind of give this a feel. Yeah, that's gonna be great. I like that actually. Really, really nice feel. That's looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and go ahead and pull this stuff off. I'm gonna go ahead and do some blue goo. I don't know though, I think I might just tighten everything up here though, just get it nice and tight. Perfect. Okay, so now we need to adjust where I want this to be. So first I need to get my handlebars nice and straight.
Okay guys, so I figured a voiceover would do much more justice than how I explained it in this particular video. So basically, when you're adjusting the position of your bars, you want to start with the bars flat. So what that means is essentially you want the tips of the handlebars to be flat or perpendicular to the ground. This is going to be your kind of neutral position. From here, you can either adjust the bars forward or backward, depending on your riding style. So adjusting them backward for a more road riding scenario and forward for a more off-road riding scenario. Now, I do mostly on-road, so I like to have my bars a little bit back, but more importantly, I like to have my bars right in line with the forks.
So once you got that, then what you're going to want to do is go ahead and then adjust where you want your clutch lever and your brake lever. And so as you're sitting on the bike, just kind of what I like to do is just go like this, maybe slightly down if anything, because when you stand up, again, you want to make sure that your wrists are not bent. So it just depends on how much riding you're doing off and on road. If you're doing a lot of off-road riding, you'll probably want this down slightly. So where your wrist is not bent, like here, I'm going to go ahead and put this down a little bit. And you can see as I just put my hand in there, it's looking pretty good. So when I stand up, you know, I've got again, my wrists are a little bit bent this way, but it's not so much so that I'm feeling uncomfortable here. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and lock this in where it's at right now. Okay. Yeah, I like that, where it's at right now. Okay, next thing is to go ahead and secure all this stuff down where it's at. I'm liking where that's at. Yeah, this is really nice. I don't remember this being this high, so I definitely feel like it's gotten a bump up. If anything, it's closer to me, so I don't feel like I'm going like bent over a little bit more. I feel like I got more of a relaxed riding position. This is so much freaking better, you guys. Oh my gosh. Good, so now that we got that in position, we can go ahead and drill the hole for this right about there. I wonder if I can just kind of gauge it like this. Yeah, I mean, I kind of got it in there. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not too worried about it in terms of like, if it's going to be just a millimeter off or like that. So you can see I just scraped the paint off, just pressed it in and scraped the paint. So that's exactly where I need to go ahead and drill my hole.
All right, so obviously I do not recommend this, you guys. As you can see, I got a ton of metal shavings inside that instrument cluster. Just not a good scenario there. It took me forever to clean this thing out and get all that stuff out of there. In fact, I ended up removing it and then putting it back on. So I recommend removing this and actually drilling the hole.
All right, so you guys can see just how freaking thick this is. It's so much thicker than what we've got over here on this teeny tiny thin little bar. I mean, just look at that. It's so thin. It's probably no more than maybe 2 or 3 millimeters. This is like at least 4 or 5. Just really thick stuff. So really happy with that. All right, let's see if we can get this thing on then. Kind of get it in place here. There it goes. Got that sucker in there. Looks like we're good. It's in solid and it's perfect, right where I want it. Exactly, so there you go. And looks like we're right at the tip of the bar there, which is really good too as well. So the short screw goes in the front and the longer screw goes in the back. Like a glove. And she's on real nice and tight there, so we should be good to go. Perfect, love where that's at, I'm liking that. I still got a little bit of play to come this way too. That's probably out as far down as I want that. So I think we're good in terms of that. I'm liking where all this is. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and pull the bar off and I'm gonna do blue goo. I will save you the pain of watching me do that. Absolutely beautiful, I love that. Feeling good. Standing up on the bike too as well. This is feeling so much better with me kind of in this further back position. I'm feeling like I can manipulate the bike a lot better like this. So we'll see how she performs out on the road though. On the dirt, that'll be a whole nother story. Everything's locked in here, we're good to go. This is all locked in, so we can essentially just take these tubes here, slap some glue on them, and they should go right on. All right, you guys, I mean, this is pretty much it. So, you know, from here, obviously you're just gonna put on whatever guards that you have. But I'm really happy with this. I'm really impressed with the height. that this has produced. The angle as well too, really, really nice. And then of course, obviously the thickness of this bar is such that I know that when this does hit the ground, that it's gonna take a lot more to bend this bar than it did that flimsy little stinking bar. So really happy with this guy. Really can't highly recommend it more. But of course I have to take this out, put it on the road to, you know, make sure that it feels good before I can make any super duper big recommendations. But as you can see guys, this installation is really not that hard. It's fairly simple. You don't have to remove any of the clutch cable stuff. You don't have to remove the clutch sensor. None of that stuff. It's all really simple. You just slide everything on one side, slide it on the other side, and it all goes in really nice and easy. So that's it, you guys. So if you have any questions, comments, if you feel like there's anything I've done here that's just kind of whacked, crazy, needs to be adjusted. Actually, you probably need to adjust this a little bit. As again, I'm not a super duper mechanic. I don't do a lot of this stuff. I'm kind of your just DIY mechanic, at-home mechanic. So hopefully this gives you confidence to be able to do this yourself. It's really not that hard. Just pick up the right equipment, right stuff, and you're good to go. In any case, until next time, this is ADVinJapan, out.